What is up, football fans, and welcome back to Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast. This week is week 12 of the NFL season. It's just flying by before our eyes. We've got arguably the worst slate of all time. There are 2-7, 3-7 teams facing off against each other. The slate stinks, and every time we say that, it's the most magical weekend. It's the most magical Sunday. Witching hour is crazy every time we say that. So we're going to get into week 12 preview on today's episode of Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast, brought to you by Zing Zang, America's number one Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang over here. Zang responsibly all Sunday long during the games. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL. Play your first $5 and get $100 in bonus entries when you use our promo code PATNFL. The link is in the description of this YouTube video and on all audio platforms for podcasts. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm your host, Stone Strankman, joined always by Kush Patel. How we doing, brother?
We're doing great. My team has a big game today. You mentioned the other games are icky, a little bit, but I mean, like you said, the unexpected always happens when we have these games that we think aren't going to be that good. So, nevertheless, it's going to be another fun week of football to talk about.
Yeah, it'll still be entertaining, and I'm still going to watch every second on Sunday.
We're still going to be seated.
It's not going to affect my viewing experience. It's just I'm going to have to slog through some games, and that's okay. Multi-view will be in purpose and good work for a good purpose on Sunday on my YouTube TV. Do you want to talk about Texans Bills? I know this episode is going to come out on Friday morning. Do you want to chat about it? Kind of like give your preview. You might be going to the game tonight. Who's to say?
I mean, we can get into a little bit.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on this game, obviously it's a must-win game for the Texans. If they win tonight, they'll have a winning record for the first time in 2025.
That'd be fun.
They're going to, I wouldn't say they're going to make hay in the division because I think that's like 95% kind of already locked up. But, I think the Texans, they're playing for their playoff lives this week. That's going to be a theme, every single game after this. And then for the Bills, they've been up, they've been down. They were up last week. And it's like I always say, these Thursday games are wacky. Crazy shit always happens on these Thursday games. So I think it's going to be a good, close game, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's Davis Mills again this week. I'm hearing things that we may not see CJ for the rest of the season, which would not be fun for you or anyone else in this company at Apollo HOU. But yeah, Davis Mills versus Josh Allen is like the most lopsided matchup Josh might have all season, except for against the Jets, maybe. We'll see. I mean, Josh Allen went absolute beast mode MVP last week. The week before, not so great against the Dolphins. It's kind of wishy-washy, not necessarily with Josh Allen, but the rest of the Bills. So we'll have to just wait and see on Thursday. When you're listening to this, you already know the result. So you can sound off in the comments about how dumb we are. But into the Week 12 preview. Thursday Night Football kicks off tonight with Bills and Texans. We're going to just move on to Sunday because yuck, this slate. There's question marks next to teams in our show notes. Like we just don't even know if we should talk about them, but we kind of have to. There has to be some sort of games that we talk about. So Colts versus Chiefs. The Chiefs are fighting for their lives. They're 5-5. They lose this, they're going to be under 500 for the first time outside of going like 0-1 or 0-2 to start a season. That's going to be weird if that happens, but the Colts kind of have a stranglehold on the AFC South. They're looking at that number one seed in the AFC conference. It's going to be interesting to see. Jonathan Taylor's back in action for my fantasy team, so that's what I'm thankful about in this game. But Colts versus Chiefs, what do you think about this game?
Man, it's another must-win team with the Chiefs. They're also 5-5 in the hunt for a playoff spot. And then to me, I think in this game, what's going to be important for the Chiefs is they can't get down early. They can't get off to a slow start because if the Colts have a sizable lead throughout this game, I don't want to tackle Jonathan Taylor from any type of defense, and I feel like if the Colts do get ahead early, like they're going to establish Jonathan Taylor. He's the best running back in the league, and in order for the Chiefs to have a chance, they have to get off to a hard start. I would say they'll probably have to score first, honestly.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat this week on Twitter that Jonathan Taylor has more rushing touchdowns than like every single team in the league except for one, maybe. And that's insane. Like it's week 12 and he already has more touchdowns than every team in the league. That's going to be entertaining to see him go against that Chiefs front seven, and it's a good front seven. And I think they've been playing pretty well this season. It's just their offense is kind of poo-poo magoo. Now you got Sauce Gardner on the other side, and I've been a proponent of not liking Sauce Garner over the last several seasons, and now he's not a Jet. So I don't know if I hate him anymore. I just may dislike him. We'll see what that looks like. He did get cooked in his first game at one point. And I was like, yeah, same old sauce. Just keeps happening. But the defense is good on the Colts side, and the Chiefs offense has not been good. So I just don't know what to take from that. Like we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. But I'm gonna lean Colts on this one. I'm gonna take the Colts. They're gonna be 9-2, and maybe I'm just putting the Stoney curse on them for you. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm very conflicted with these two teams because, yeah, as you guys know, I have a certain amount of hate for both teams for what they've done to me in the past. But um, I think I'm gonna go with the Colts. I I just think the Chiefs haven't done enough offensively for me to believe that they're all of a sudden in this game going to just figure it out on offense and just be that explosive offense that they've been wanting to be all season long. And then on the other side, you have Sauce Gardner, who's kind of settled in. It's going to be game number 2. And the Chiefs offensively, just receiver wise, they just don't really have anybody that can challenge that secondary.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive weapons have been not good for the Chiefs or not available for the Chiefs, which is a recipe for disaster. When they're not available or when they come back, they're not good. Talked about it at length so far in this episode and previous episodes. But yeah, I think the Colts haven't really played many good teams. They've lost to 2 good teams and they've beaten everybody else. This is kind of their first semi-good test in a hot minute, and we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm excited to watch the Colts. I love watching Jonathan Taylor. I've loved him since he was at Wisconsin. He was sick. I wanted the Dolphins to draft him, and we drafted somebody that didn't make it past their rookie contract instead of Jonathan Taylor. It is what it is. But Jonathan Taylor versus the Chiefs, Daniel Jones, kind of a shit week a couple weeks ago, but they still got the win. So we'll see. Colts and Chiefs. We both take the Colts. Next game, Steelers, Bears. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is playing. I don't trust the Bears. Another poo-poo magoo game, but they have good records. So I don't this game may just be an absolute stinker. It might be a lot like Minnesota and Chicago last week, where it was just a field goal fest. It was like 19-17, just kind of gross all the way around. Maybe we get one of those, but maybe we get some points out of everybody. I have no idea. I have no idea if Aaron Rodgers is playing. I'm going to look that up while you talk about this game.
I like the Bears in this game just because they've found a lot of different ways to win. It hasn't always been pretty, but Caleb Williams has developed nicely. I like what he's doing this season. And I don't know if you've seen Ben Johnson's like post game locker room speeches. It's the most amazing thing ever. If you guys get a chance to watch it, like when I look at Ben Johnson, he looks like a guy that's like he looks kind of like a nerd, like a quiet guy. And then when I saw the post game speeches of him, I'm like, man, if I'm a Bears fan, I want to run through a wall for this guy. And with the Steelers, do we know if Aaron Rodgers is like 100% like good to go?
So it's his offhand. I just was looking at it. It looks like he's playing. He's doing all the press conferences talking about the Bears because he loves playing against the Bears. I wonder how much incentive he has to go against the Bears now that he's not in Green Bay and just can torture a fan base. But he's a somewhat self-centered person from what we can see online and everything. I would assume that he has that extra juice heading into this Bears game as well. But the Steelers team is just like the defense had 3 good weeks. We're like, hey, defense is back. And then it wasn't. It just very much wasn't. And then the offense is like good week, bad week, good week, bad week. So I have no idea what version of the Steelers we're getting, but I do know that Aaron Rodgers is going to do everything in his might to beat the Bears without a hand. It's going to be a sight to see.
I don't know if we saw it. There's a tight end for the Steelers.
Yeah, Darnell Washington.
He was on Amon-Ra St. Brown's podcast.
Yeah, Darnell Washington. He's 311 pounds.
Washington, yeah. And he said he weighed in at 300 pounds. Is that real?
I look at him. He looks like an offensive lineman. He just can move a little bit better. That's all it is, and maybe he has good
I think
hands.
NFL.com has him at like not 280 or 260, 270, something like that.
So Google has updated it to 311 because of the podcast. I don't think he's lying.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
And they've got like 4 tight ends. It's the gross. It's like 1950s football right now, just running the ball and a bunch of tight ends. Like, I don't know. It's kind of fun. It really is. And him just bowling through the defense, running over secondary. Like, that was really fun last week. I just like, I don't know what you do with that guy. Like, how do you tackle him? 311 pounds running it. Like, you just have to clip his feet at that point. That's all you can do.
Yeah, so game pick as far as this game, man, I said Bears, but I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I think if it's a close, like low scoring game, I would probably go Bears just because they just find a way to win those types of games. I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah.
But if Aaron Rodgers starts slinging it, the question is, can Caleb Williams and that offense keep up?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun game regardless, I think.
I'll just go Steelers because it's Aaron Rodgers versus the Bears. That's the sole reason. I don't trust anyone else on that team. I don't trust their defense. I don't trust their offensive weapons. Like, their running backs have been pretty good. Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren's been a good 1-2 punch. Gainwell's kind of taken over that number 1 spot. Had a lot of points last week in fantasy on my bench. That was fun. Yeah, I'll take the Steelers just because Aaron Rodgers versus the Bears. I don't think that voodoo bear just goes away. Like, he's just sitting there and just waiting to beat the Bears. He loves beating the Bears. All right, next game. Rivalry game. Eagles, Cowboys. This is always a fun one. It was a tight one in week 1. And then you have the rain delay, the lightning delay, and it was just a slugfest in the second half. I would assume that the Cowboys, like, they always split these games. It's 1-1 every single season. Usually the home team wins, and if it's opposite, it's opposite. But the Cowboys offense is doing, I mean, they're fine. They're good some weeks, and they're bad the other weeks. And then the defense looked a lot better last week with Quentin Williams. He had like 1.5 sacks and a TFL like in the first half for the Cowboys. And everyone's talking about this trade and how it's a D+ or whatever for the Cowboys or an F. That's a great player. And you got him at a good price compared to Micah Parsons. He's going to wreak havoc on offenses. That's just kind of what he does. I like this game. The Eagles, there's some rumblings now that the Eagles coaching staff and the players are upset with Jalen Hurts' play, and they're kind of limited right now. And I think that's funny because you just won a Super Bowl and you're upset with your quarterback. Eagles fans are the worst. When it's bad, they lose a game. They're the worst. It's victim syndrome. They have all of that, and then when they win, they're the best team of all time. They do all of those things. It's stupid. Eagles Cowboys is always a fun game, though. I love talking about this one. I love watching these games. Who you got? What do you think about this game?
I mean, this matchup is always close every single year. You know, the first game of the season, we're like, man, we don't really know anything about the Cowboys. We don't really trust the Cowboys. We probably think they're gonna suck. And that was a close game, but all throughout, even though the Eagles ended up winning that game, it was close. Could have gone either way. And then now you add Quentin Williams to the Cowboys into the mix. The game that he had against the Raiders, and before you guys say anything, I know it's the Raiders. I know the Raiders suck.
Yep.
But I think you saw Quentin Williams' immediate impact, on the defensive line. Individually, he had a pretty good game, and then, as a whole, the defense played probably better than I've seen them play all season long. Like, they played pretty good, and I think this is going to be a matchup between both of these defensive lines. Whichever one plays better and gets pressure on the quarterback and makes plays in the backfield, I think that's who's going to win the game. But George Pickens quietly has been one of the best receivers in the league this year.
He's been elite. We didn't even talk about the Cowboys basically suspending their 2 wide receivers for the first drive last week because they were out in Vegas partying, and there's a report that CeeDee Lamb was throwing up in a bathroom in one of the casinos at 7:30 a.m. on game day, which is hilarious. Love that for him. But yeah, the wide receivers have been great for the Cowboys. The running game's pretty good with Javonte Williams and company. And obviously in week 1, it was 24-20 in the first half. They scored 0 points in the second half. The Eagles scored basically all their points on the run. They couldn't stop the run. Quinnen Williams is here now. I think that's going to be a big boost for him. I think the run's going to be a little bit harder to get through. And then if they can pass the ball, then that's great. And then they can move the ball. But I don't know if I trust them. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I always think this is a 1-1 season record matchup against these two teams. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I'm going to trust my guy Dak and their running game and their newfound defense with Quinnen Williams. And I think Overshone is back this week for the first time all season. That's a big boost for the defense. They've been missing linebackers. They've been missing secondary. They've been missing everything on the defense. Defensive line was bad. They've got reinforcements now. It's a little bit different team than we saw in week 1. I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm going Cowboys too. And just again on this defensive line, before they got Quinnen Williams, they do have Kenny Clark, who has been playing well. But I just think before the Quinnen Williams addition, they had a lot of nice pieces that just weren't able to make plays just because they didn't have that force in the middle. And Quinnen Williams is that force in the middle. And I think all those other guys, James Houston is one of those guys. I can't pronounce his name. The rookie from Boston College, number 41.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try.
No.
He played pretty well last game. And then, like you said, Overshone, finally healthy, finally out there. I think the Cowboys front seven is going to not dominate the game, I don't think, but I think you're going to see him make a bunch of plays.
Yeah, it's just a newfound.
And then I think they have newfound confidence just after, acquiring Quinnen Williams and then just the Marshawn Neal and stuff. I thought they just played with a lot of heart and inspiration last game, and I think that's going to continue. I think they just when you're playing under those type of circumstances and stuff, it just raises your motivation, raises your effort, I think.
Yeah, I don't hate it. They're 4-5-1 right now. They need to win this game because if they lose this game, they're not out of it completely, but they pretty much have to win out. So we'll have to see. But I'm gonna take the Cowboys. I just love me some Cowboys. I know I live in Dallas, but I don't know. It's just Dak. It's all it is. It's like if Dak wasn't on this team, I wouldn't like this team. So last game, Bucs and Rams, probably game of the week. I'm gonna just stamp it as Play Action Takes game of the week this week because there's no other good games. Bucs and Rams. Bucs put up a really good fight against the Bills last week. Came up short in the fourth quarter. The Rams squeaked out a win against the Seahawks. It wasn't great, but they had short fields. They had 4 interceptions on defense. And I think this is a fun potential playoff matchup in round 2 in the divisional round because I would assume, it could be a wild card round because the Rams could technically lose the division still to the Seahawks. I think the Bucs are going to run away with this division and have a home playoff game. But I like this game. I like this game a lot. I'm excited about it. Baker versus Matt Stafford. It's going to be fun. Matthew Stafford. Sorry, he didn't go by Matt. Yeah. What do you think about this game?
Man, the Bucs suffered a heartbreaking loss last week.
Yeah.
It was an up and down game against the Bills. And it doesn't get any easier against the Rams. The Rams are a great team. Matt Stafford playing very well right now. And I think it could be another heartbreaker for the Bucs, who are still trying to get healthy. And then you talked about the NFC South. Watch out for the Carolina Panthers. I think they're only a game back from the Bucs in that division. If the Bucs lose this game, then how many times left do the Panthers play the Bucs? Because I think that division game could be huge and decide the division.
Yeah, so the Bucs and Panthers haven't played this season so far. The Panthers are technically a game out. The Bucs are 6-4. The Panthers are 6-5. Bucs have had a bye week. Yeah, so if they lose this game, technically, I don't know who goes to the top of the division. If they technically lose and the Panthers win, then obviously that flip-flops them. But if you're 6-5 and you've lost to like all the good teams, the Eagles, the Bills, the Rams, like I'm not feeling bad about the Bucs in that situation. It's just you got to get healthy. Mike Evans will come back probably in December later this season, and Egbuka's been awesome. The offense has been good, even with all the injuries that they've had. Bucky Irving is a maybe this week, which would be a huge lift for them. Obviously, they had a good run game last week against the Bills, but Bills defense can't stop the run for whatever reason. And And then on the Rams side, like Devontae Adams got a little bit banged up last week. Puka Nacua has been banged up this year. But Kyron Williams has been awesome. Matt Stafford has been awesome. So it's going to be a fun matchup. I hope it's a lot like Bills Bucks last week, where it's just back and forth. There's 8 lead changes in the first half. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Lots of points being scored. I could definitely see a shootout happening. I hope it's a shootout, but I'm going to lean Rams on this one. I just trust them a little bit more right now. I think they're a little bit more healthy. In the Bucks, they just can't figure out how to get those wins late in games right now because all of the weapons are hurt. If they get Bucky Irving back, this game's a lot better, I think. They have multiple running backs to go at it, have a run game, and then just free the field open a little bit for Egbuka and literally no one else. So I'm going to just lean Rams because I think they're healthier, and I think they win these close games a lot better than the Bucks have this season.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rams too. I just think even if Bucky Irving comes back, the Rams defensive line is very good. We talked about it last week. To me, one of the best young defensive tackles in the league, Byron Young, having a great season. I think it's just going to be a little too much to overcome for the Bucks. I'm going to go Rams.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. That's a week 12 preview. We're on a week 12. This is crazy that we only have like 6 weeks left. We're heading into late November. We got Thanksgiving games next week, so we'll put out an episode a little bit earlier next week for the preview because we will talk about all the Thanksgiving games. They're usually just kind of the highlight of the weekend. So we'll probably put that episode up on Wednesday. So we'll do a little double recording maybe on Monday, get that out of the way. But yeah, next week's Thanksgiving, which is crazy. Like we just started this podcast back in August together and it's already flown by 12 weeks. My team can't lose this week. So I'm pretty happy. Can't lose. Can't win, but can't lose. Bye week. Love to see that. Kush, you got anything else?
I'll tell you how I'm feeling after tonight. We'll see how tonight goes, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on Sunday. Texans, Bills, Thursday Night Football. This episode's going up on Friday, so we didn't preview this one really, and we're not going to talk about it until Monday. But Week 12's here. Enjoy it. Play Action Takes. Pauly Media's NFL podcast is brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang. Zang responsibly all season long. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is our daily fantasy app of choice. Use promo code PATNFL. When you sign up, play your first $5, get $100 in bonus entries. So if you're just giving Underdog $5 to play one entry, you play $5, they're going to give you $100. So you just made $100 today. 95 really. Unless you won your first entry with Underdog Fantasy using promo code PATNFL. It's super easy to use. Check the link in the description to sign up with Underdog Fantasy using our promo code PATNFL. For me, your host, Stone Strinkman, with Kush Patel. We'll be back on Monday with another episode of Play Action Takes, Pauly Media's NFL podcast.